Welcome back to the podcast, everyone, where we talk about life, challenges, and everything in between. I'm your host, Landon Renk, and in today's episode, we are going to be diving into something we all deal with: forgiveness, perseverance, and thankfulness. Three things that sound simple, but can feel like climbing a mountain, swimming against the current, or sometimes just trying to untangle your earbuds. Seems pretty impossible at first, but with some patience, you'll get there. So let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm Landon Renk. Happy Friday when you are watching this or listening to this. It is going to be February 28th, and I cannot believe it is already going to be March. We are already 2 months complete in the great year of 2025. I'm so grateful for this year. So let's get right into our podcast. Let's start out with forgiveness, and I felt like I really wanted to start out with this one first because this is such an important topic to me. I think forgiveness is something that everybody needs to live by. I think forgiveness is a hard, tough thing, but at the end of the day, forgiveness is so important. So let's start with it. I really like to look at forgiveness as like carrying a heavy backpack filled with bricks. Every grudge, every resentment is like another brick. And yeah, sometimes it might feel justified to keep it. They don't hurt me. They don't deserve my forgiveness, you might say, but maybe they don't. And who's really suffering? It's you. Your back aches, your steps are slower, and after a while, you forget what it's like to walk freely. I like this analogy here because one thing about forgiveness is that we always forget in our moments where people have hurt us about how much it affects us compared to how much it affects them. We think to ourselves, oh my God, they just hurted me, but how do they feel? Humans have so many different emotions. And so forgiveness isn't saying what they did was okay. It's choosing to set that backpack down. You're the only one who gets lighter. You're the only one who can run again. And sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. We will always replay our mistakes in a bad song and repeat or an instant replay. But what if we change that track? What if we let ourselves grow instead of staying stuck in what we did wrong? Letting go doesn't erase the past. It just makes the future a little brighter. Now, I really like this again because I think the power of forgiveness is so huge. Having a situation, for example, let's just do an example situation. You have a friend at school that says some really mean things about you behind their back, and someone tells you that they said this, and the person comes up to you and they apologize. You feel hurt, right? But at the end of the day, this is your friend, so you care about them, so you forgive, right? But do you truly forgive, or do you keep it in the back of your mind? Now, I think keeping stuff in the back of your mind is okay sometimes. Having awareness that, hey, this person did this to me last time is very normal. But what's not normal is holding that grudge for so long. I believe it is totally perfect to stay strong and keep going with whatever you're doing without worrying about the person. So now let's get a little bit into perseverance. Now, perseverance out of all these topics is one of my absolute favorite. I love to talk about perseverance. Perseverance is a little bit like running up a hill. At first, you're feeling good. You tell yourself, I got this. This is easy. And then suddenly the incline hits, and suddenly your legs are burning, and your lungs feel like you're on fire, and your brain is like, bro, stop. This ain't worth it, man. What are we doing? You know, that's how I feel a lot of times with perseverance. But here's the thing. What happens to the view of the top? It's so insane. It's the kind of view that will make you forget the struggle, even if it's just for a second. Life throws obstacles at us. Bad grades, failed relationships, injuries, rejection, self-doubt. It's easy to stop. It's easy to say, I'm just going to stay here where it's comfortable. But every time you keep going, even when it sucks, even when you feel like you have nothing left, you're proving that you're stronger than your struggle. And overcoming these struggles is so important, ladies and gentlemen, because if we live our lives thinking to ourselves, well, I got halfway up the hill, but it's too hard. I'm never going to get down. We got to keep climbing up that hill slowly. No one thinks you're going to get up the hill today, but slowly, can you make progress? And every single day, can you get the inch closer to the summit? Well, you know, sometimes in life, we really have this struggle to say, hey, you know what? Let's think about all the things that in life that happened because someone refused to quit. Now, we look at people sometimes and we say, oh my God, they're so perfect. One, it feels like they never do anything wrong, or they're always so good at persevering. But those people have overcome challenges. The greatest athletes, the best artists, the most successful people, they weren't necessarily talented. They were just the ones who kept running up that hill when everyone else stopped. So whatever hill you are currently climbing, my best advice to you is to keep climbing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our last topic, and maybe one of my favorite that will be a long one, is thankfulness and gratitude. Now, thankfulness and gratitude is something that in our daily life we take for granted a lot. I think the word thankfulness, the first thing that comes to mind for me is the power of appreciating one and another. Gratitude is, for me, is the power of appreciating what is in my life. Now, I really like to look at this as another metaphor. Gratitude is kind of like turning on a light in a dark room. The struggles don't disappear, but suddenly you can see what's still there. Now, I really like this because I think when we dig deep into gratitude and you turn on that light in the dark room, the struggles are going to still be there, but you can see what is in the room now, and you can really appreciate, hey, this is a scary room here, but there's so much beauty in it when the lights are on. We spend so much time thinking about what's missing and what we don't have. We constantly are thinking about, hey, that person has a nicer car, a nicer house, their family has more money than me, they have this, they have that. But when do we say to ourselves, I have this, other people don't have this. I have a good family. I have a good sporting and loving family. But what we don't have, the people that show up for us. And we even don't notice the moments that make us smile. The lessons hidden in hard times. These lessons are so hard to dissect that your brain will automatically go to what I can get better. This is one thing that I love about the human brain, is it's very competitive. It's constantly going to push us to be the best version of ourselves and go as hard as we can. But sometimes being thankful doesn't mean just ignoring struggles. It means realizing that even in the middle of the storm, there's still some sunshine somewhere. Sometimes it's just a little harder to see. I really like that quote right there because not only do storms really show how bad life can be, but the sunrise afterwards shows how beautiful the storm was afterwards. If you look at storms in life in a different perspective, you can see the beauty in anything. I always tell my friends and anybody in athletics that if you look at every practice, every game, no matter if it's a win or a loss, you can dissect something positive out of it. So I have a challenge for you guys. Every day, I want you to take a second to notice something good. Maybe it's the fact that you made it through a tough day. Maybe it's just a text from a friend. Or maybe it's just that your coffee tastes really good this morning. The more you look for good things, the more you find them. And trust me, they will always be there. I really do love that quote because life will always provide you with the greatest of highs and the greatest of lows. But can we appreciate our life when we're in the highs and even sometimes when we're in the lows? So, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for today's episode. The power of forgiveness, putting that backpack down, the power of perseverance. You got to keep running up that hill. And thankfulness, turning on that light and seeing what's there. Truly, life's going to throw some wild stuff our way. But when we decide how we can handle it, we will figure out how to handle ourselves. If you like today's episode, share it with a friend and let me know what topics you want to hear next. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you later in the next one. Until then, keep moving forward. Landon Renk out.